Welcome back, everybody. This is Music Talk. I'm Dave, and
I'm Mike.
And before we start this review, I gotta tell you that me and Mike just did an over an hour-long review on what we're getting ready to do, and somebody forgot to hit record. So
it could have been the guy in the Mariner shirt. Yeah.
Whatever.
That's all right. I got the oven heating up. I got pork chops I got to cook, when we're done. So,
I'm cooking later too. I'll be up all night. So why not do it again, right? At least we know what we're looking at.
Somebody make some mashed taters. Yeah.
So you can put these records on and have a good time doing it. So this week we're going to do album review, comparison, sort of comparison. We're not really comparing them because you'll see why as we go through. Yep. But it's two albums. It's not just one. We're going to do two. And the reason why is I'm going to show you. First one is Lee Rocker, and it's called Gather Round. And it's got a super cool album cover. Love that album cover. And the second one we're doing is Brian Setzer, Gotta Have the Rumble. And the reason we're doing them both together is because, as everybody knows, they were both from the Stray Cats.
That's right.
So first we're going to check out the Lee Rocker one. And let's look at that cover, man. That's a great album cover. Look at that. You got the Airstream. You got the cool cat snapping his fingers. The hot kitten on the upright bass. Pink flamingos, trash can, light, the moon, everything. Mm-hmm. Great CD cover. Open it up. We got Lee several times with his bass.
Yeah, got that white Standell bass.
Yeah, beautiful. He's worn it out a little bit there. Mm-hmm. You got underneath the CD, you have the Lee Rocker, Gather Round cross double bass there with the cat still on there. CD looks like this. Got the Airstream, Lee Rocker, Gather Round. Cool. Mm-hmm. No lyrics in it. Back you get the tracks. You get who did what on it. You got his cool kitty wife there. Him snapping his fingers up close so you can get the feel of the groove. Really dig the album cover. So the songs, we'll roll down these real quick. The album's really about basically when everybody went into lockdown, what happened was Lee and his wife went and bought an Airstream camper trailer. And they just traveled around the country. So they took off, left California, hit Route 66, drove all the way to Virginia, took a left up to New York, went from New York back to California, going through all the northern states, and ended up back home. They said they went through 20 states. So it's pretty cool. He wrote 7 out of the 10 of these on the road, as they were going around checking everything out and traveling around and seeing everything. So the first song on here is called Gather Round, and it's basically about his travel. And it starts out with the bass line in it. And then when the band kicks in, it really feels like you're traveling. I felt like I was in the camper, with him, and we're just traveling around. It's got this really cool feel about it, And then the second one's a song called Graceland Auction. And he wrote that one. He got home and he gets this book all the time because he's this super fanatic of Elvis. He's like a giant Elvis fan. And he gets this book called Graceland Auction where they're always auctioning off Elvis's stuff. So he saw it sitting there and he always wanted to do something with it. So he said, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and write a song about it. And there's a video out too. You can check it out. And it shows a lot of the stuff that he's talking about in the song. And it just talks about everything that you can buy from Elvis all the way down to the sand where they filmed Clam Bake. You can buy a handful of Elvis sand, but that's basically what the song's about. It's pretty cool. It's got a little, the bass line's got this little cool syncopated little beat to it. It's really neat. Third song we got is The Last Offline Lovers. And he wrote that for his wife. And it's got this like Spanish feel about it, like a Spanish Western, country Western type thing.
Yep.
A really cool Spanish guitar going on in there. And the next one we get.
I remember right. The drums were pretty good on that too. I was surprised at the approach the drummer took. He didn't go with the tom-toms and the rim shot, but he went with the snare drum, and it was it was pretty much a flamingo feel to it, you know.
Yeah, it had that dun,
Right.
dun,
Right.
you know, and that's what kind of gives you that Spanish feel too, with that reverby guitar and that boom, 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 you know.
Yeah.
So then you get to number 4, and this is a song written by somebody else, not by Lee Rocker. This was written by Huddleston and Rinker, which I wish I'd have looked up them. I'm pretty sure they're a jazz act. And this song's called Everybody Wants to Be a Cat. And it's cool, man. It's got this cool bass line. You got the brushes on the snare. You know, it's that old bluesy jazz stuff. I mean, everybody wants to be a cat. You know, you can see him, you know, sitting outside the Airstream, snapping his fingers, you know. And you know, it's got that cool little slap bass thing going there a little bit. And that's a neat song. And it's a video to that one also. Number 5 we get is Picking and Grinning, and it's got this running bass line. Basically, you know, he's just going to kick back and drink, and you know, the world's going a little crazy, so he's just going to sit back and pick and grin. It's another. I love the bass line on it though. I had a good running bass line. Then number 6 is Every Time I See You, which to me sounded a lot like a Roy Orbison feel to it. You know, as soon as I heard it, I was like, man, that is totally a Roy Orbison feel.
Mm-hmm.
It's got that sound to it. And so number 7 we get to is called A Dirty Martini, and it's an instrumental. And the reason this one, he said that he wrote this one because at pretty much the end of every day on their travel, they sat back and had a dirty martini. So he wrote a little instrumental for it. And to me, it sounds like, it has the sound like Barry Manilow's song, the American Bandstand theme song. You know, I'm going hopping today. I'm in bobbing, whatever he says there. But the guitar line sounds like that. It does that. So every time I hear it, I think of that Barry Manilow song. Man, it's like, am I watching American Bandstand or what? But it's a really good song.
Well, I think the whole thing too is the inflections of the sounding like other songs, I think really are done on purpose. I think they're done to make you think about that and to put you into that era. You know, it's like, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. And it definitely gives you that feel like you're watching American Bandstand, because they're all swinging. You got the dancers going around. And I want to say something too. When we first started to do this review that I did not record, Mike was being chased by a fruit fly.
Yep.
And now I have a fruit fly in here. So I don't know how it got from his house to here, but there's one in here now. So it's like somehow it transported.
Just look at your beer before you drink it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just protein anyway.
Yeah, what the hell? Yeah, no worse than drinking outside.
Yeah, exactly. So then we get to number 8, and it's called When Nothing's Going Right, which is a song that he wrote for the Stray Cats on their 40th anniversary, and they've done it. And I went back and checked it out, and Lee sings on it, and it sounds pretty much the same. They didn't really change it much, but he put that one on here. Really cool song. When nothing's going right, turn left, you know, basically that's what he's saying. So that's a cool song. Then we get to number 9, Doghouse Shuffle. And you know, he's slapping the bass on this one. This one also has like a Carl Perkins, George Harrison guitar sound about it. The only thing that bothered me about this song, and I didn't mention it on the first time we did this review, which I wanted to go back and do it, but I'm, you know, going to say it now. There's a part in it where he says, it's time to slap the bass, right? And when he says, and now it's time to slap the bass, I wanted him to slap the bass, but he didn't. He finished out this little bar and then comes in on the next measure and starts slapping it. I'm like, if you're going to say it's time to slap the bass, slap the bass. You know?
Yeah.
But
I didn't notice that, but probably next time I listen to it, it'll be sticking out like a sore thumb
Yeah,
now.
you will. You're
Man,
like, man,
thanks a lot, man.
yeah, why didn't you slap it when you said you were going to slap it? But I mean, I'm not taking anything away from it. I just thought, it was still a cool song. And then the 10th one is Ophelia, which is an old song from the band.
Yep, the band.
Robbie Robertson wrote this one.
Yeah, Robbie Robertson, Levon Helm.
Yep. And the original version is more of like a Louisiana style blues. And they turned it into Lee Rocker. He's turned it into a 20s cabaret type swing. So it's pretty cool. It's kind of like you're sitting there in a cabaret, having you an old fashioned dirty martini, right? And they're whipping it out, man. And it gives you that feel. It's pretty cool song, man. I like their version of it. I think I might like their version better than the band's.
Well, yeah, I don't know that that's a coin toss there too.
It is.
It just depends on the mood that I'm in. I think
that's true.
Would dictate which one I want to hear.
It's absolutely true. Yeah. And then, I mean, this Lee Rocker album, I'll give you the band members real quick. You got Lee Rocker on vocals, bass, guitar, mandolin, harmonica, and accordion. And he said basically he pretty much did all the instruments. And then he brought his guitar player, bass player, and piano player, drummer and piano player in later and did some parts for him. So his guitar player is Buzz Campbell, who's an extremely good guitar player. He's playing the Gretsch. He's got that same old fat sound that you want out of the Gretsch. And then you got Larry Mitchell on drums, and a guy named Matt Jordan on piano and organ. And then he also has a guy named Joey Aites on piano on the song Ophelia and on Doghouse Shuffle. Yeah. To me, that's one of the coolest names I've heard in a while is Joey Aites, like the number 8.
Yeah, I've heard that name before too. And I'm trying, and we talked about it before we recorded. I'm thinking that I've heard that name, on some either Robert Gordon or Danny Gatton, or the two of them together, or Roy Buchanan. I mean, these nicknames, they stick with people, and there's no duplicates out there. So
well, Joey Aites, man, I mean, I would think that you might have heard it on like The Sopranos. It sounds like something that you would hear on The Sopranos.
Well, yeah, I mean, never know.
Joey Aites, So that was Lee Rocker's album. Cool record, man. Love that freaking album cover, man. I really do.
Oh yeah.
So now we're gonna jump over here and check out Brian Setzer. Gotta have the rumble. Now look at his album cover. He's just Studley there with his leather jacket and his motorcycle, looking all cool.
I'm just surprised he don't have a Gretsch on his back,
Well, he might be on the other side of him. But here's a picture of him with his Gretsch.
There you are.
Yeah, he's giving it to you.
One of many of them.
Yeah. Yep. Then on the back, he's got a close up of him on the bike, actually, cruising. Got the smoke back there like he's doing a burnout, maybe.
Is that a Triumph?
Yes.
Yep.
And then you come. Here's the CD itself. Got the CD. Got to have the rumble. Pretty cool color. Blue.
I'm surprised he named the album The Rumble, because there was a song that was popular during the late 50s and 60s. It was called The Rumble.
Yeah, that was by what was his name now? I was just Link Ray, is it?
Yeah, Link Ray. That's a Link Ray tune, The Rumble.
Yeah, that was one of Jimmy Page's
That's another guitar player that people need to look up. We'll talk about that later on.
And he's got that vibrato too, and Brian uses it a lot. So here's a cool poster. I want you to check this out. He gives you this little poster in there. Look at that. What? Look at that.
Yeah.
But the problem is, if you hang this on the wall, you don't have your lyrics. So here's your lyrics. It's on the back side of the poster. So you got to ask yourself, do I want to read the lyrics, or do I want to have this sweet, cool poster of this?
Here's what you do: is you lay it down on a white bed sheet with the lyrics up, and you take your phone out and you take a picture of the lyrics.
Okay.
Then you hang it up on the wall.
Well, this is back. They're taking me back to the 50s and 60s on this one, so I don't have a phone to do that.
You take your Polaroid and Instamatic out,
Now that might work. My Polaroid would be so small I couldn't read it. But anyway,
So
the first,
you get a magnifying glass. But the only problem is the pixelation is pretty bad.
yeah, after you shake it for like an hour, right?
Yeah.
All right, so the first song on his is called Checkered Flag. And I mean, it's basically about driving fast cars, hot women,
Yeah.
it's everything you could ever want in a rock and roll song, right? And he's got his Gretsch playing with that vibrato in there, that it's pretty cool. Then number 2 is Smash Up on Highway 1. And this song's got this it's like a Indian Egyptian run, right? It's like an Indian type sound,
Yeah.
little Egyptian feel about it. I thought it was really cool. Then we got number 3.
Yeah. Wasn't the drummer on that? Wasn't he using a bunch of tom toms on that?
Pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah,
That was the one where they were going like a
right.
which had some really cool stuff, and then you get to like the wipeout sound almost.
Right.
Really cool song, man. I mean, I'm digging these records, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm liking the fact that it's taken us back. It's taken us back to when music started swinging to the rock and roll, and these guys were, they were on top of it, in that day. And I'm glad that Brian Setzer and Lee Rocker are doing this stuff, because we need to be taken back to basics every once in a while.
Yeah. And I mean, if you think about it, we'll go into that later. So number 3, we got Stack My Money is this third one. And to me, it was basically Carl Perkins' Honey Don't. I mean, it reminded me so much of that song. And he's got that Carl Perkins guitar sound that George Harrison carried on with the Beatles. I mean, he's got that guitar down, that feel down so good with the sound. I mean, it just totally reminded me of Harrison and Perkins, man.
Oh yeah.
Harrison, his hero was Carl Perkins. So
and Carl Perkins and Chet Atkins.
Yeah, and Chet Atkins.
I remember him taking lessons from Chet Atkins.
So then we get to the wrong side of the tracks. And again, he's got that high vibrato really dominant on there. And it's got this really cool violin part with the strings. And it does this real high thing. I don't even know how to say it. But when I heard it, I was like, man, I had to keep going back because I thought it was so cool. I had to listen to it again. I don't know, something they do with the strings there. It's super neat. Then we get to the song number 5 called Drip Drop. And I actually dig this song because it's so cheesy that I love it. It's like a drip drop, drippity drop, and it's so cool. But the music, when it starts out, it reminded me a little bit of the Things We Said Today from the Beatles, but then it goes into typical Brian Setzer mood, and the backup vocals are great on this, and just the way they're doing the drip drop, drippity drop, it's just it's so cheesy, man, but God, I loved it for some reason. And then the only thing I didn't like about this song, and this is a me thing, it's not, everybody's not going to be like this, but at the end of it, I wish he would have just ended it with a drip drop, drippity drop, and then ended it. But he didn't. He had to come back in and do the drip drop or whatever it was that he did, and he kind of fell off at the end like that.
Kind of takes him to his he's got the Brian Setzer Orchestra, so that would be an orchestra ending,
yeah, true. If like a horn would do, something a horn would do.
Yeah, but you were talking about the Carl Perkins sound and thing, and I was just looking through some of the Beatles albums I got and pulled up Meet the Beatles, and to me, another reference to a Carl Perkins type thing is I want to be your man.
Mhm.
Basically it's the same Roadhouse stuff, man.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
really, and
yeah.
it's so cool because again, and I mean, I know we talked about this in the prior rehearsal session.
The one we didn't record because of somebody.
But this is Roadhouse music.
Yeah.
It's music where you sit at the bar, you don't really have to listen to it to love it and enjoy it. And if it's not there, you know it's not there.
Yep.
And if it's being played bad, you know it's bad.
Yeah.
But that's why you got to be on the money with this stuff,
Yeah.
And
well, I mean,
it's phenomenal. These guys have knocked it out of the park.
They have. And that brings me to song number 6, which I know this song is one that you really love. It's The Cat with Nine Wives. And it's a funny song. It's it goes 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 wives. Boom, boom, and it's another cheesy song, but I really like this song. It's got I kind of wish he would have did it in like a 9/8 timing, just because it would have been cool to do something different. You got a song called The Cat with Nine Wives. Why not do it in a 9/8 time? He did a typical 4/4 or 8/8 or 4 on the floor, whatever you want to call it. But the thing about this song, with the exception of the cool vocal hook that I like, which you laugh at every time you hear it, I know, with the 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. The guitar sound on this one reminded me so much of Les Paul back in the days with Les Paul and Mary Ford doing their stuff. I mean, he was doing that ding 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 ding. I mean, total Les Paul sound. It was great, man. I mean, I was like, man, because he gets that reverb, and I mean, he just, man, he nailed that sound. And I think what people don't realize when they, is how good Brian Setzer really is. I mean, this guy is a phenomenal guitar player, man.
He is. And it's just, well, I mean, he had so many influences.
Yeah.
And to put himself where he is today, I mean, it's phenomenal the way he's coming across. I love it.
Yeah.
I love every minute of it.
And I know you mentioned previously when the idiot didn't record, you were talking a lot about Danny Gatton and Roy Buchanan.
Danny Gatton and Roy Buchanan. And I'm glad you mentioned Link Ray. Robert Gordon also did a album with Link Ray, and that one, that is a must hear too. But people, you need to get out and hear these guys. It's like you were saying earlier. They're the most unrecognized, unknown guitar players probably ever that influenced the whole world.
They did. I mean, half the people that I know, probably more than half the people, probably 80% of the people I know don't know who Danny Gatton or Roy Buchanan is, or even Link Ray.
Yeah. I mean,
so hopefully after watching some of our reviews, these people will go and check these guys out. But I mean, I'm telling you, Brian Setzer, man, he's doing all these licks, man. He's got all the sounds. So anyway, so we get to number 7, and this is called Turn You On, Turn Me On. Basically another song about a car, turn you on, you turn me on. It's got that Bo Diddley. It's the Bo Diddley one. You know how a week or two ago we talked about, so yeah, the fly went back to your house.
Yeah, it's back. It came through the wire.
Went back. Yep. So a week or two ago, we were talking about everybody always has a Bo Diddley song, right?
Yeah.
It seems like, they should just call it the Bo Diddley song.
Right.
And he's got one on here, and that's what this is, the Turn You On, Turn Me On. And I think, and this is the one with the little mama beat, right? And then what was you saying earlier? Was it sounding like a rockabilly rap?
Yeah, exactly. It's a rockabilly rap. Yeah. And I mean, that's the only thing that I could have put on it. It's like, but it worked, you know,
yeah.
and it worked, and I enjoyed every minute of it, you know, because number one, the drummer's phenomenal.
Oh yeah, drummer
And
is spectacular in this
I
album.
mean, and you know, we talked earlier about this. I mean, this is the fact of you've heard us on different reviews where we've talked about, you know, the drummer should have changed up and done some different sounds and stuff like that,
Mhm.
changed snares or did a different tuning. Well, this is a case here of where you got a guy that really knows how to use his kit. Doesn't have to change tunings. He doesn't have to change snares. He doesn't have to change cymbals or whatever. He's going to give you different sounds on different things with that kit,
Yep.
which is the that's just somebody that knows how to use his tools.
Yeah.
He's somebody that's a master of his trade,
Yep.
and he knows how to draw those sounds out of the kit. He
Yeah.
doesn't have to sit there with the tuning key and tune his snare down a whole step or grab another one and throw it in the stand because it doesn't sound right.
Yeah. And I want to elaborate on him a little bit later once we get through the rest of the songs, because I mean, he was exceptional on this record.
Oh yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
on this song here, that "Turn You On, Turn Me On" with the, you know, the rockabilly rap going on, kind of reminded me a little bit about like a Bill Haley's in the comments with the 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock rock type thing, you know, a little bit. But they kind of did like an auctioneer thing, you know. It was a rockabilly rap. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, you nailed it with that term. And, but he's got this thing, and halfway between every verse, you know, halfway through each verse on the second half, he does this little harmonic slide on there with a flanger on it, and it's like a, and it's like a it's something Eddie Van Halen used to do a lot. And I'm
Yeah.
not trying to say he's trying to be like Eddie Van Halen. I'm just saying it's a riff that Eddie used a lot, and he put it in here, and you can hear it in the background. It's super cool sound.
Well, it's just like anything else. When somebody puts something out there, for example, like the way, of course, here I'm going to be talking above probably the average person's head with this, but when you listen to Jeff Beck and the way he plays, okay, well, he discovered he was the pioneer of playing the way he's playing. But you got a lot of people today that can do the same thing. And it's not that they're copying.
Right.
What it is there's a new discovery. It's like breaking open a new door to here's the way you can do it.
Yep.
This is another approach. And that's what these people are doing.
Exactly.
So yeah, with Brian Setzer doing that, yeah, maybe Eddie Van Halen was the first one to bring that to the plate.
Yeah.
But you know what? Thank God people are able to use it.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about earlier. I mean, Brian's got he can play anything, man. He can make his guitar sound like anybody. It's unbelievable how good he is. I mean, really is. And then we get to the next song, number 8, Rockabilly Riot. And to me, between both CDs, this one sounds the most like a Stray Cat sound to me. This song is totally Stray Cat sound. No doubt about it.
Oh yeah.
Then we get to number 9, which is called Off Your Rocker. And originally I thought that maybe he was taking a shot at Lee Rocker, but it's not the case because they're still buddies. And even Lee Rocker even mentioned in an interview that he said, yeah, they're still friends. They don't really see each other a lot, but they're the kind, you know, they send each other dumb text is what he said. He's like, we're always sending each other some dumb text, you know? So definitely not a shot at Lee Rocker, just a song that he wrote. Well, and it's funny because this song's it's a standard shuffle song, but the drummer doesn't play a shuffle beat. And it's like the one time you'd think that a drummer would, not this guy. He's like, nope, I'm doing a traditional beat on a shuffle song. And it's great. It works great. And I mean, I thought it was funny. But what I really like about it is at the end of it, he's got, I guess his wife is in there doing some vocals. And she's like, you need to go get a job. And he's like, oh, baby, I don't need to get no job. I'm going to do this. And she's like, how you going to do that? You need to get a guitar. And he's like, well, baby, I know a guy down the street that's got a guitar like Eddie Cochran. I can do that. So it ends with that kind of conversation. But I thought it was funny because I always thought of Brian Setzer as kind of an Eddie Cochran guy. And I think he played him in a movie one time, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I don't recall watching the movie, but you're probably right about that.
But he reminds me so much of Eddie Cochran, the way he looks and everything.
The one thing I'm going to say about that song, though, is that it just reminds me, and I used to do this song with the Rhythm Kings. I used to sing it. You know, I ain't drunk, I'm just drinking.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
song.
Yeah. Pat Swaller, you know, I mean, it's like, come on. And
she's like, you better get up and get something done. Like, oh, come on, baby. I'm just drinking.
Yeah, that's right. You know?
Same kind of feel about that.
Every day, baby, when the sun go down, I get my friend, I begin to clown.
That's right. That's a funny song too.
It is. It's a great tune. You used to do it the Rhythm Kings, and people would sit there and they're like, what did he just say?
We got a local station here, a guy named Jerry Carter and Brian Beecham are both DJs on it, and I know I've heard them play that before. I think Jerry Carter plays it, which I love. Jerry Carter, he's a great dude.
Brian Beecham rings a bell.
He's been around doing DJ work around here for a while. Yeah,
I bet you
they call him the Blues Man.
Yeah, I bet you they came out and heard the Rhythm Kings.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Like
Jerry Carter was actually one of the first people to play one of my songs on radio. So anyway, I'm not going to get into all that. So the next song we got is number 10, One Bad Habit. And it's got that big band sound about it, you know, but he's got this run that he does. It's an arpeggio scale. I said it right this time. That's the one good thing about doing the second arpeggio. He's got this scale where he does like a and it's really cool. I'm just a bass player, so I don't know what I'm talking about. You know, like if Mike was going to play an arpeggio scale on his drums, he would go from the snare to the third to the fifth tom to the seventh. So
no diatonics.
No diatonics. That figures. Damn drummers don't ever want to play diatonics. Yeah,
that's right.
Anyway, so that's number 10. Now, I don't know what you listen to, but on the linear thing I saw online, on the liner tracks, they said there was 12 songs, but on my CD, I only had 11. And the 11th song is Rockabilly Banjo, but they're crediting another track as Rockabilly Banjo instrumental, which I don't have an instrumental on here. So I don't know if there's like another bonus track out there that I don't have. But I mean, I bought the CD and it don't have it. But anyway, so the 12th song, Rockabilly Banjo, I really dig this song. It's a bluegrassy type country thing, and it's got Paul Franklin on steel, which we know who he is. We've talked about him several times.
So I've met him a couple times in Nashville.
Yeah, you've met him. And I mean, this, you know, Brian's playing the banjo on it. He's picking away, and it's a really, you know, rockabilly banjo, man. I mean, you know, rockabilly banjo. I wish I knew what he know, you know.
But the funny thing is the steel guitar carried the song.
Yeah,
the banjo's just in the background doing finger rolls.
Yeah,
and the steel guitar is carrying it. You know?
I mean, he wrote a song about the banjo, but the steel guitar does all the stuff.
No mention about steel guitar whatsoever.
Nope, but it's a really good song.
Matters, you know. I mean,
right. Yeah. But you got Paul Franklin on it, man. I mean, you know he's going to play the crap out of his skill.
Oh yeah.
But it's a really cool song. It's got that bluegrassy country feel about it. I think it's cool. Now, on this one, it's Brian Setzer, of course, on guitar, banjo, and vocals, and he's got the drummer's name is Victor Indrizzo. And
I want to talk about him for a little bit, okay? Because we were talking about this a little bit earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there were a few songs where, I mean, he's smacking that snare and he's drawing these different sounds out at the same time while he is just playing that groove. And it was so phenomenal. At first, when I heard it, I'm like, okay, he's got a little ring going on and stuff, but he was intentionally doing it and it was consistent. And that is an art. That is something that not every drummer can do that.
Right. Well, the thing about it to me too is he was doing things with these syncopated rim shots that
Right.
were so unconventional. It blew me away, man. I mean, he would just sit there and he would pop those rims, man, at different times, and
Yep.
he'd follow some of the guitar runs and chords with it, and just like bap, 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 bap. And it was just like you sit there and you're like, what did he just do there? And it was just crazy how good this drummer is, man. I mean, uh, again, his name is Victor Indrizzo. I never heard the name. I mean, I may have seen him play with Brian in other areas, but I'm gonna tell you,
I'm gonna
all
go
the
ahead.
records that we've heard through this year, I think he's got to be one of the best drummers that I've heard.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, this guy, okay, and I'm not taking away from the metal drummers. I'm not taking away from the Nashville drummers at this time
Right.
or anything. I think the only thing that really comes close to what this guy is doing is what these drummers that are backing up these hip hop and rap artists
Mhm.
do. They sit there. If you're watching somebody that's doing hip hop or rap, that's a real time drummer. If they're carrying a real time drummer, then he's pulling those sounds out of the drums, and that's what this man is doing here with Brian Setzer. He's pulling these sounds out of the drums. It's not. It is not. It is not something that is pre-programmed. It's not on Pro Tools, where it samples your first snare hit, and then from then on, that's what you hear the whole fucking song. And I'm sorry I used F-bomb,
Yeah,
but
that's right. Well, see, the thing I was going to say too is like, we've heard stuff. You talked about it before that some of these drummers, you wish they would have done something or made a different sound.
The Allman Betts thing.
Yeah.
That album, I mean, the drums were the same dry, rattly sounding snare, flat,
Or
the whole album.
or Wolfgang Van Halen's, right? Those drums just sounded so,
Yeah, program.
insane, where it was like, I wish they would at least change something out. But like you said earlier, this guy probably used the same 6-piece kit, and got more different sounds out of the exact same drum kit that I've heard any drummer do all year.
Yeah.
I mean, he's doing those, them old cocktail swinging 20s, bar room sounds, and it's like the mama beat, and I'm just like, I totally love it. I feel like I'm smoking a cigar and drinking a martini, and this guy is just blowing me away.
That's what I grew up listening to and learning from.
Yeah.
And it's not about how consistent can I power shot my snare.
Yeah.
How do I play my snare to make music?
Yeah.
I'm not a metronome. I'm playing an instrument that keeps the time. But if you want to be a metronome, I mean, more power to you, but there's more sounds that you can get out of a set of drums. Every piece of a drum you can bang on, and there's going to be some kind of sound come out of it.
Yeah.
Learn how to use
I'm telling you, the stuff he did, man, on this record was just phenomenal to me, because I mean, you hear people do the rim shots and stuff, but the way he used the placement of these sounds, it just totally makes the album to me.
Yeah, and that he knows how to use the length of the stick, changing up the difference of the length of the stick, and get different tones out of the same type of rim shot.
Yeah, unbelievable.
And he was doing that consistently. It was consistent. You could count on, okay, this one's going to be a little fatter, this one's going to be thinner, this one's going to be fatter, this one's going to be thinner. And he was doing that with probably not even looking at what he was doing. It's probably just such muscle memory that bang, it just happens.
And if you're a drummer, you need this. This album right here, this drummer, he put on a clinic.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier, this is just a clinic, man. And if you can even play some of this stuff this guy's doing, then you're a damn good drummer, because this guy is phenomenal. And I mean, I don't say that a lot about people, but this dude blew me away, man. I mean,
The one thing I didn't miss was the double bass work that you hear all the time with drummers today.
mm-mm,
I didn't miss that.
mm-mm.
Everything I heard out of this guy was clean, precise, to the point, and it fit the song more. And you could tell that at times he was the one that led the song in that direction.
Exactly. And just the sound of them. I mean, I know a lot of this how he's hitting it, but man, they had these drums sounding great.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he really did have these drums sounding great.
Yeah, you did.
And then you have on bass, you have a guy named David Rowe Rorick, who's also playing a lot of upright bass too.
Yep.
Now, he didn't have a hard job on this because the drummer did so much.
Exactly.
He just had to kick back and just play the straight bass, you know?
Play the bottom in.
Yep.
Yes.
And that drummer just took off, man.
Yeah.
You know? So we also had on here the background vocals, which one is Julie Setzer, which I'm assuming is Brian's wife.
Yep.
I guess. And then somebody
Sister.
named Jennifer Goforth. Was that?
I said it was probably or his sister.
Yeah, I guess it could be his sister. I mean, I don't know, but it's a Julie Setzer. So then you had, of course, Paul Franklin, we talked about.
Yep.
He played pedal steel. And then you have on mandolin a guy named Brian Sutton. And then they had a string section for some other stuff. And it was produced by Julian Raymond. And also the executive producer was Dave Kaplan, which we've talked about before.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about him before. And I know he's done some stuff with like, I want to say like UB40. And I think he did Butthole Surfers. And he's been with Brian for a while with his stuff too. So he's been around a little bit. So on these, you know, I don't want to compare them because
there's no comparison. It's two different approaches of the same songs. Well, not the same songs, but the same music.
Yeah. And they're very similar. Very similar. And I think the thing that surprised me most is Lee Rocker singing. So, I mean, they sounded so much the same almost. Like they sounded like Brian and Lee are very similar singers. So it makes me wonder how much did Lee really sing with the Stray Cats?
Right.
Because
and that's one thing that caught me off guard when I was listening to the Lee Rocker stuff was, did I miss something with the Stray Cats? You know, did I overlook something? Because the only thing I remember about Lee Rocker was him spinning that big doghouse and standing on it and
beating the crap out of it
and slapping it like it was a stepchild.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, I mean, like it was like part of him, right? And that's what I was thinking too, because I'm like, man, I must have really overlooked Lee Rocker because I always assumed that Brian was the guy.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And I know Lee's done stuff with like Slick Phantom and Rocker and other things. And man, I mean, if you look at Lee's resume and all the people he's played with, I mean, you're talking about Keith Richards, Willie Nelson, all these guys, George Harris and Carl Perkins. So the guy is phenomenal bass player. On this album, it proves that he's the king of the upright, really. I mean, obviously there's other people that are, you can't compare people to people. Honestly, you can't. But what a superb upright bass player.
I'm game with that. Yeah. I'm game with that. And one thing I want to say though about that is that, he is a phenomenal bass player. And the comparison between the two drummers, between the two bands, I think the reason why the drums are a little bit more subdued, although I believe the drummer that was with Lee Rocker was totally phenomenal.
Yeah.
But he laid back to let Lee do his thing.
Yeah. And I mean, Lee produced and wrote pretty much this whole thing. He did lay down pretty much everything on it and then brought them guys in later. Yes. Which not taken away from that. The guitar player for Lee was great, phenomenal. The piano player was an absolute monster. The drummer had a different feel, had a different sound, but was still great. I mean, a great drummer.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Brian's, the drummer just blew me totally away. I mean, honestly, I mean, I can't say anything about it. Bass player did what he was supposed to do. Wasn't anything special. I think a lot of his bass lines were pretty similar on every song, where Lee actually gave you a little differences, I think, on here. But
again, I think the end result is because of the fact of on both albums.
Yeah.
You're looking at a drummer that's knocking it out of the park. So the bass player's job is just to anchor it.
Yeah.
And on Lee Rocker's album, well, Lee Rocker is taking off. So the drummer's job was to anchor it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, totally surprised at Lee's vocal work. I dig it a lot.
Yep.
So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to say one sounds more like Stray Cats than the other, because I think they could have both put these two records together and I would have listened to all 20 songs, because these songs, I was so happy listening to both records. Yeah. I mean, I really was. I mean, I was smiling, I'm bebopping, I'm doing this, and I want to drink martinis, and I want to just freaking go see these guys in the club. Like this one here, definitely Lee Rocker had more of the bar club feel to it.
Like because of the raw music, old truck stop music.
Yeah. I mean, it had a raw feel about it, probably because the budget might have been a little lower. I don't know. It definitely had more of a raw live feel. And you're listening to it, you feel like you're traveling, you feel the smoke in your eyes, you feel the burn of the vodka, And then this one, it's more polished, a lot more intricate guitar work because he's doing a little more. He's got parts, in and out. Drummer, phenomenal drummer. I can't say it enough. So we went through this on the first review. I'm going to do it again just so we try to reproduce the first review. I'm going to give the edge to Brian, and not by much, though. So I'm giving Lee Rocker a 7.8. I'm going to give him a 7.8, and I'm going to give Brian the edge just a bit. I'm not going to say 7.885. I'm going to say Brian's got a 7.9. So I'm going 7.8 for Lee Rocker, 7.9 for Brian. So,
well, I'm gonna bury the needle on both of them.
No, this is Mike's cheating here. He's cheating now.
They knocked it out of the park. Both of them. They knocked it out of the park. Put me in an era that I loved growing up, and it just brought me right back to my roots as far as learning to play drums.
Now, before he says anything, I just want to let y'all know that the first review that this idiot here forgot to record, Mike wasn't even going to give any rating on it. He said, I'm not going to rate him. So, all right. So I said, no, you have to rate him, because the people out there want to know, what is he going to rate him? So then he comes up with this.
2 double thumbs up.
2 double thumbs up, man.
Bury it.
Explain it.
I mean, to the top, man. That's it. So sorry, I give them both top props.
So he's giving them both a 10.
Flip the coin. Which one do you want to hear? There's nothing lacking in their recordings and stuff. It just takes you right back to smoky bar rooms and just looking at the girls. And I'm telling you right now, that's the day, man.
So then what happened in the first review is, after I got on him about it, right? And then he starts talking about the records, and he gives them both 10s. So then he starts saying, how can you not? So now I'm in the position of, okay, so now I feel bad, because I actually like the shit out of both of these records. And I usually don't cuss, but I really like the shit out of these two records. So I scratched my 7.8 and my 7.9. I'm giving them both a damn 8.5 because of Mike. He goes 10 on them. And I mean, because they're such a good record, both of them, they're happy, you're feel good records. Phenomenal album cover. Look at that thing. I'm going to get a tattoo. It's going to be something like that, but it's not going to be that. But man, that's tattoo album cover, right? That's King of the Cool, the Rumble. I mean, look at that. He's ready to go Rumble, right? You know, you can hear the Link Ray song right now. Blum, blum, blum.
Yeah, exactly. Put Link Ray out there. And by the way, people, y'all need to go out, find some Link Ray, find some Danny Gatton,
Danny Gatton,
Roy Buchanan. Look these people up. Look them up. You will not be you will not be disappointed.
No, I mean they're the best of the best, man. So
these are people that aren't talked about.
Yeah, we'll probably do a review or something. We need to do a review on like our profile on unknown guitar players that you should know.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, we'll wrap it up. After Mike convinced me that I don't know what I'm talking about, I went ahead and jumped up to 8.5s on both. So I'm giving them both 8.5s. Mike gave them both 10s.
I'm giving 10s. Yeah.
They're good old fashioned 50s, 60s rock and roll, man. I mean, it's what the world needs right now. You need some fun in your life. You need to be happy. You need to be a cool cat with a hot kitten. And there it is, you know, and you need to be ready to go to the rumble with your leather jacket and your Triumph motorcycle. And, you know, you're feeling that rumble, you know? So anyway, we'll wrap it up.
I'm going to tell you too, the sound quality of both of these CDs or albums coming through my system with my subwoofer cranking, they covered the full spectrum. I'm telling you, right, there were times I had to look around and go, where is that bottom end coming from?
Well, I'll be honest with you. You know how I gave Blacktop Mojo some crap about this drum sound because I could not get anything good to sound on their drums. These I had no issue. I put them in and I've got everything.
Yeah.
You know? And they were phenomenal. You know, again, the old Smokehouse, Roadhouse, Jazz Club, blues sound. The same sound, a little more polished, a little more cabaret drummer going on there. I felt like I was ready to get up and swing. I mean, they both did what they're supposed to do. They're similar in the way that they are the same style.
Yep.
But they're not similar in the way that they sound the same. Right? So I can't say one sounds more like Stray Cats because they both do. I mean, they're both cool cats, man.
They're both stray cats.
I mean, truly. I mean, they are. I mean, that's what it is, you know. So anyway, we'll wrap it up because I know all you cool cats and cool kittens out there are tired of hearing us talk, and it's the second time we've done it, which I wish I would have recorded the first one. You did.
Well, that's all right.
8.5 for me, 8.5 for me, 10 for Mike, 10 for Mike. Let us know what y'all think about it. We'll do some more stuff on these guitar players we talked about later. So anyway, until next time, y'all be safe out there.
Peace out. Listen to the music.